Picture this, a cold December night, with frost clinging to windows and an eerie silence blanketing the world. Suddenly, a heavy presence emerges from the shadows, a figure of pure terror, stalking the icy streets in search of those who've dared to stray from the path of virtue. What if I told you this isn't just a story, but a tale rooted in fear, punishment, and ancient legend? Meet Krampus, the sinister counterpart to Christmas cheer. Far from delivering gifts, he brings judgment, an embodiment of consequences that are as chilling as the winter winds. Join us as we unravel the unsettling truths, haunting mysteries, and horrifying legends of Krampus. Stay with us until the end, and you might discover why this dark figure could be more than just a story. During the icy winter months, when nights stretch endlessly and the howling winds seem to carry whispers of dread, the mountain villages become shrouded in a palpable unease. It is during this time that a shadowy presence is said to roam, an entity whose name alone inspires fear, Krampus. This half-human, half-demon figure isn't merely a product of ancient folklore. He is a legend intertwined with the very roots of the alpine forests, as ancient and unyielding as the towering pines. His tale serves as a chilling reminder to all who dare dismiss it, a forewarning of consequences that come to those who stray too far from the path of virtue. The long, dark nights seem to stretch endlessly, and with each passing hour, the sense of foreboding grows stronger, as if the land itself holds its breath in anticipation of his arrival. His appearance is the epitome of terror, twisted horns resembling the gnarled and lifeless branches of an ancient, cursed tree, glowing eyes that seem to pierce through the very fabric of the soul, casting a chilling light on the darkest corners of one's fears. His claws, long and razor-sharp, not only tear through the silence of the night but are said to leave scars on those who dare cross his path. Draped across his back is a sack, weathered and ominous, where, according to legend, he imprisons his victims, a grim repository for the disobedient and morally corrupt. Krampus is a relentless force, showing no mercy as he prowls the villages with a single purpose, to seek out and punish those who have dared to defy the unspoken codes of morality. The mere sound of his approach, a mixture of clanging chains and guttural growls, sends shivers down the spines of those huddled in fear behind locked doors and shuttered windows, praying they're not next on his list. The Night of Krampus transcends the boundaries of a mere cultural tradition, weaving itself into the very fabric of fear and superstition passed down through generations. Among the most bone-chilling legends is the tale of the Blackened Eve. According to ancient accounts, this was a night when an entire village fell silent under mysterious circumstances. Fires were found extinguished, doors left ajar, and snow-covered streets were eerily empty, save for a trail of clawed footprints leading into the mountains. The following day, no inhabitants could be found, only cryptic symbols scrawled in soot on the walls of homes. Survivors from neighboring villages whispered of Krampus descending upon the town to deliver judgment, leaving nothing but an unshakable aura of dread in his wake. This haunting story persists as a warning of his unyielding wrath. The aftermath of the Blackened Eve is said to have been marked by an unnatural silence that lingered for weeks, as if the land itself mourned the loss of its inhabitants. Some brave enough to investigate reported hearing faint, otherworldly cries echoing from the mountains, cries that seemed to carry both agony and despair. Over time, the tale grew darker, with whispers that the symbols found on the walls were not random but part of an ancient and forbidden ritual, perhaps an invocation that backfired and sealed the village's fate. Further accounts from those who dared approach the abandoned village describe strange phenomena, shadows that moved without light, a bitter chill that seeped into the bones, and the distinct sensation of being watched. These eerie details only deepened the mystery, with many fearing that Krampus's judgment did not end with the village's destruction but left a lingering curse on the land itself. It is a night steeped in chilling tales and unnerving accounts that refuse to fade with time. Generations have been marked by mysterious and unexplainable disappearances, leaving behind only whispers of dread. Among the most harrowing stories are those of children vanishing into the icy abyss without a single trace, their names carried away on the cold winds of winter. As if to taunt those left behind, ominous claw marks have been discovered etched deep into doors and windows, silent, menacing warnings of Krampus's presence. These marks are not merely physical scars but psychological reminders, chilling the hearts of those who dare to remember, binding the community in an unspoken pact of fear and caution. Legends say that even now, on cold, stormy nights, faint echoes of those cries can still be heard, a grim reminder of the price of invoking forces beyond comprehension. Some claim that during such nights, ghostly figures can be seen moving through the snow-laden streets of the abandoned village, their forms distorted and their movements unnatural, as though caught between realms. These spectral apparitions serve as a chilling testament to the enduring power of Krampus's wrath, forever etched into the memory of those who hear the story. Manuscripts from the 16th century offer chilling accounts of a terrifying figure that emerges during the bleakest days of winter. These ancient texts paint a haunting image of a creature whose presence is announced by the unmistakable sound of chains clanging in the icy darkness. This auditory omen, echoing through snow-laden forests and silent mountain villages, strikes fear into the hearts of those who hear it. The chains, some claim, are not merely tools of torment but a symbolic burden, representing the weight of sins carried by those he drags into eternal punishment. Others interpret them as remnants of an ancient imprisonment, a grim reminder of a force once contained but now unleashed. The manuscripts recount tales of villagers who, upon hearing the ominous clanking, would extinguish their fires and huddle in silence, terrified that any noise might draw the creature's attention. Some writings describe the aftermath of his visits: bloodied snow leading to doorways, shattered household items as if ransacked by an unholy force, and the chilling absence of family members who had been there just hours before. The air in the wake of his presence was said to hang heavy with a metallic tang, as though the chains themselves carried the essence of despair. There are also cryptic mentions of those who attempted to confront this horrifying being. These accounts tell of brave, or foolish, souls who ventured into the darkness armed with nothing more than torches and prayers. None returned. Villagers later found their belongings scattered near the forest's edge, alongside clawed footprints and signs of a violent struggle. These harrowing details only solidified the belief that the creature was unstoppable, a harbinger of doom immune to mortal resistance. These manuscripts describe not just sightings but the palpable dread that accompanies his approach, as though the very fabric of reality shifts in his presence. The clanging chains serve as an inescapable warning, echoing through the icy wilderness, a sound that transcends time to remind us that something far more than legend prowls the winter night. The psychology of fear is one of Krampus's most insidious and powerful weapons. He doesn't merely frighten, he plants seeds of dread that grow unchecked, feeding on the mind's vulnerabilities and blossoming into full-blown paranoia. Mountain villagers speak in hushed tones of hearing heavy footsteps crunching through the snow, yet these prints inexplicably vanish without a trace, as though their source were never truly there. Shadows dance unnaturally against the direction of the wind, twisting and writhing in a way that defies explanation, sending shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. And then there are the sounds, muffled cries carried on the icy breeze, faint and haunting, as though coming from places unseen, their origins forever shrouded in mystery. It is not merely the acts of Krampus but the sheer anticipation of his presence that leaves villages gripped with a palpable tension, transforming quiet winter nights into a suffocating atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. Across cultures and regions, the figure of Krampus emerges as a chillingly consistent presence, a dark spirit dedicated to delivering punishment to those deemed wicked or immoral. In Iceland, the legends take an equally sinister turn, with chilling accounts of mysterious abductions occurring amidst fierce snowstorms, leaving villagers gripped by an unshakable sense of dread. These tales, while differing in detail, all echo the same ominous warning: a relentless force meting out unyielding justice and cold vengeance to those who stray. This recurring motif suggests not merely the spread of folklore, but perhaps a universal fear etched deeply into the human psyche, of retribution that knows no boundaries and spares no one. Many believe Krampus isn't merely a myth but an ancient, primal force deeply connected to the untamed wilderness. As a guardian of forests and mountains, his existence feels intrinsically tied to places where nature's raw, unyielding power holds sway. His appearances are invariably in remote, desolate locations, where the whisper of the wind through the trees and the crunch of snow underfoot are the only companions of those who dare to tread. These sites, far removed from the warmth and security of civilization, amplify the dread surrounding his presence, as though even the land conspires to shield him from prying eyes. Some theorize that Krampus could be a physical manifestation of collective fear, an embodiment of humanity's deepest anxieties and moral failings. Others suggest he is something far more sinister, a sentient force beyond comprehension, born from an ancient pact between mankind and the unforgiving wild. Whether a specter of imagination or a living nightmare, Krampus looms as an enigma, his menace as enduring as the mountains he is said to haunt. In the late 19th century, a wave of panic gripped alpine villages, spreading like wildfire as reports of eerie and unexplainable events began to surface. Entire families were plunged into despair as children vanished without a trace, their laughter silenced, and their absence haunting the snow-covered streets. The mutilated remains of animals were found scattered near village perimeters, their grotesque state further fueling the fear that something dark and malevolent prowled the icy wilderness. Whispers of Krampus grew louder, with each rumor painting him as the inescapable force behind these horrors. Though no concrete evidence ever surfaced to confirm his involvement, the weight of collective terror was undeniable. Villagers locked their doors and prayed through the long nights, their imaginations running wild as the howling winds carried echoes of chains and distant growls. To this day, the memories of those dark winters remain etched in local folklore, a chilling testament to the enduring shadow of Krampus. Ancient texts, weathered and fragile with time, describe a variety of arcane rituals said to hold the power to ward off the dreaded Krampus. One of the most infamous involves painting cryptic symbols in blood on the doorways of homes, a macabre and desperate act intended to bewilder the creature and bar him from entering. These symbols, often inscribed with trembling hands during the darkest hours of the night, were believed to hold protective energies that could repel his malevolent presence. Other accounts mention the use of burning specific herbs, their acrid smoke meant to drive him away, or the recitation of chants passed down through generations, each word carrying the weight of ancient fear and hope. Yet, the question remains, could these rituals, born of mortal desperation, truly stand against a force as primordial and unyielding as Krampus? The doubt lingers like a shadow in the minds of those who perform them, for the very essence of Krampus defies the limitations of human understanding and invokes the terror of the unknown. The line between myth and reality becomes increasingly tenuous in the chilling accounts from locals who claim to have encountered Krampus. Their stories paint vivid and harrowing portraits of an enormous creature, towering above them with an aura so malevolent and oppressive that it left them paralyzed with fear. Witnesses describe its hulking frame, its twisted horns silhouetted against the faint glow of the winter moon, and eyes that seemed to burn with an otherworldly intensity. The air around Krampus was said to grow unbearably heavy, as if the very essence of dread materialized in his wake, rendering those in his presence utterly immobile. The villagers recount a suffocating sense of despair, as though their very souls were being held captive by the creature's gaze, leaving an indelible mark on their memories and further blurring the boundaries between folklore and a haunting reality. Reports of Krampus's presence grow more frequent and harrowing during snowstorms, when the howling winds and blinding flurries seem to amplify his terrifying aura. Those daring enough to venture out at night describe hearing the unmistakable clatter of heavy chains dragging through the snow, a sound that cuts through the roaring storm like a spectral warning. Alongside the chains comes a guttural growl, a deep and primal sound that reverberates in the chest and freezes the blood of those who hear it. These eerie phenomena often accompany sightings of shadowy figures slipping between the trees, their distorted silhouettes barely visible in the storm's chaos. The forests, already foreboding in daylight, transform into impenetrable abysses of dread during these nights, pushing even the bravest to avoid their borders. For many, the risk of stepping too close to the tree line and becoming the next victim of this ancient terror is simply too great to bear. Krampus's influence seeps far deeper than the bounds of individual fear, reaching into the collective consciousness to instill a sense of dread and accountability. He embodies a dark equilibrium, a sinister reminder that every action carries a weight, and every misdeed demands its consequence. For the wayward, he is punishment incarnate, a force of unrelenting retribution that spares no one who crosses the line of morality. Yet, for others, he is not a monster but an entity fulfilling an ancient and necessary role, a keeper of balance in a world teetering on the edge of chaos. His looming presence serves as a grim enforcer of justice, reminding all that even in the darkest shadows, order must prevail. The very notion of Krampus challenges the boundaries between morality and fear, leaving an indelible mark on those who dare to confront the possibility of his existence. Though popularized in films and series, many believe these portrayals fail to grasp the true and harrowing essence of Krampus. On the screen, he is often reduced to a caricature of fear, stripped of the depth and terror that his legend commands. In reality, Krampus is not merely a horror story to be consumed and forgotten. He is a chilling embodiment of humanity's darkest fears and moral failings. He represents the shadows lurking in our collective consciousness, the primal dread of judgment and the inescapable consequences of our wrongdoings. To encounter the true Krampus is to confront the very fears that lie buried within us, fears that are not so easily dismissed or relegated to fiction. Some theories suggest that Krampus predates Christmas itself, with origins rooted in the shadowy rituals of ancient pagan cults that held a deep reverence for the untamed forces of nature. These cults, believing in the raw and capricious power of the natural world, performed dark and elaborate blood rituals to appease this fearsome entity. The purpose of these offerings was not only to ensure the creature's favor but also to secure a less merciless winter, as Krampus was seen as a harbinger of both wrath and survival. These rites often took place in the dense, frozen forests under the pale light of the moon, where the line between the mortal world and the supernatural seemed to blur. Chanting and sacrifices became acts of both terror and hope, binding communities in a fragile truce with a force they could neither understand nor fully control. The echoes of these ancient practices linger even today, adding an eerie depth to the legend of Krampus and the primordial fear he continues to evoke. In the end, Krampus isn't merely a legend whispered through time, he's a chilling reflection of the shadows we harbor within ourselves. He symbolizes the darkness that lingers in the recesses of the human spirit, the unspoken fears and guilt that we attempt to bury but can never truly escape. Krampus stands as a stark reminder that no matter how far we run, no matter how deeply we try to hide our transgressions, they will eventually resurface, demanding acknowledgement. His tale is a haunting metaphor for the inescapable reckoning that comes with our misdeeds, a force that ensures our darkest actions are never forgotten and always find a way to confront us when we least expect it. As you've now ventured into the darkest, most bone-chilling side of Christmas, one question lingers: how much of this is mere myth, and how much could be rooted in a terrifying reality? Krampus continues to lurk in the shadows of legend, captivating the imaginations of those bold enough to consider his existence. Could he truly be more than just a tale? If you found yourself enthralled by this eerie exploration, don't leave just yet. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification so you never miss another dive into the mysterious and macabre. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Krampus is simply a scary story, or could there be a sinister truth behind the legend? Let us know what you believe. And before you go, give this video a thumbs up if it sent shivers down your spine. Until next time, when we uncover yet another chilling mystery.